So I waited to for us to get online to talk about this. I don't know why, because this could be embarrassing or a little too personal. Oh, we always get pretty personal, but we could, there could
Be
be.
personal.
So I was shopping and I literally nearly with our carts ran into someone who treated me poorly. Um, I'm sure you know who this is. You know her as well.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I was so shocked and whatever. I just kind of smiled, not a big smile, just kind of a turned up the ends of, because I didn't know what else to, and then I just kind of, and she smiled this sort of, the sheepish sort of, she always plays the victim. She always she was always victim. So it gave me that sort of victimy smile. And I just kind of went away. And I was really nervous the rest of the time. I thought, I'm not going to leave. I need to be here shopping. So I'm going to finish my shopping. I thankfully did not see her again. But clearly, there's some closure that I didn't realize that I don't have.
Mhm.
Um,
I would agree.
and I'm not quite sure what to do about that or how to go about it. I it was for all of you listening and don't know what the hell I'm stumbling and bumbling about. She was a friend. We worked together and she got super triggered one day and just up and left and pretty much told me I was the bane of her existence and everything wrong in her life was because of me. And
Mhm.
I didn't say anything. I didn't feel that I wasn't going to engage with her. I wasn't going to. At one time in my life, I would have. At one time in my life, I would have probably lost my shit. I would have, or chased her down. Like I would have, the codependent thing would have come, or something would have happened.
So, is it fair to say that you might have gone to her and unleashed on her
Oh boy.
and considered that your closure?
Yes. Although I would have continued to spin probably about it. But yes,
But you would have considered that
yes.
closure, and
And
it's
I did.
not.
No, part of it is I'm not going to give that to you. You're being a total asshole to me.
Mhm.
How kind of in my mind, like, how dare you blame me for all of your messed up shit in your life?
Mhm.
But yeah, I just didn't. I just stood in my dignity. And of course, she didn't say this to my face, by the way. It was in a letter.
Mhm.
And then through other people that I know that we knew, kind of, I got sort of the backstory um, that she's just a crackpot and wanted to blame me for her life's woes. But I thought I was just sort of done with that.
Mhm.
But clearly
Mhm.
I was not. And
Mhm.
it kind of triggered me a bit. And not coming to you and saying something was hard, but I knew that we were going to do this. So it's like, well, I'm going to wait and throw myself on the sword and do it in front of everyone, whoever's listening. Yes. So, yeah,
So, in my experience, you're absolutely right. There is closure that hasn't happened yet.
yeah,
And
surprised me.
um, we we I think are under this false assumption that just because we've done healing,
Yeah.
that's our closure.
Yes.
Sometimes it is.
Yes.
Sometimes.
And sometimes screaming at them and grabbing them by the neck and telling them that they're fucking morons. Okay, that's not really closure. Feels
It's
good in
not
the
closure.
moment, but
We
it's not.
want it to be closure.
Yeah.
We tell ourselves that that's
Yes.
closure, but it
Yeah.
really isn't.
No.
Um, and I know from personal experience how easy it is to not close that gate. I'm going to say gate because for me, they're gates.
Okay.
To close the gate on something or to close the door on something after you've done the healing
Mm.
is sometimes really scary.
Yeah. Well, and I don't want to, I'm going to add this too, because this is part of it. I don't want a relationship with her. Even if she were to come to me and give me her spiel and her whatever, there's no trust there now. To
No.
just up and go like that, there is zero trust. There is zero trust. Um, but it really shocked my how nervous I was shocked me. That
I, yeah,
it threw me back.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I absolutely. Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah.
So
Ugh.
what I'm getting for
Yes.
you in this scenario is there's probably still a little bit of healing to do.
Yeah.
And then there's the choice of closure.
Okay.
What I've learned is that closure is a choice.
It is a choice.
It is a choice, and we have to make that choice. And I'm going to say literally,
Yeah.
it's
Yes.
that word, but we have to literally close that access.
Yes.
There's some things that we don't have closure on because there's a lie that we have told ourselves
Yeah.
that has nothing to do with anything,
Right.
but we've implanted that lie.
And there's also this, what I'm in right now has zero to do with her.
Hmm.
She was just the catalyst to bring it up,
Hmm.
right? That's coming through
Right.
that's like loud and clear in my head.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
she is a no factor in this, but the experience was a factor, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
The
the
wounding that
healing that
happened,
you have to do isn't really about her.
no, which actually makes it a lot easier, right? It does.
So are you able to make that choice to close the door, the gate, the window, whatever the hell it is? Are you
Yes.
able to make that choice
Right.
to close off the access to her? And that doesn't mean that if you smash carts again or
Right.
almost smash carts again, that you're not going to have a reaction because you're human.
Yes.
However, the reaction will be different.
It was surprising.
Sure.
It never occurred to me that I just haven't even thought about her for so long. And, that's there. And I think part of it, I don't think I know. I've always had a lot of, I mean, this has happened to me so many times in my lifetime, right? I was broken. I had things to work on. I attracted broken people, usually women, because of my mom issues. I'm gonna have that
Sure.
me. She's definitely, whether she's a narcissist or not, I don't know, but she's certainly selfish as all F. Which was the type of people that I would
Hmm.
ingratiate and go for. So
Hmm.
there's a lot here. I I think it's another level of that really going in and looking at would be very good for me.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
because really I mean, you and I became friends. We've talked about this. You and I both had female friend issues our whole life. And
Hmm.
then coming together, it was like we never knew we could be this close to another woman before, ever. Like, what?
Hmm.
And we're closer, you and I are closer than we are to our own sisters,
Hmm.
so it's and so in a way though, I kind of thought, oh, well, I'm over all that shit because look, I know how to make friends now. I know how to have a real girlfriend, a real sister friend, as you would say.
Hmm.
But clearly that's not it. There's still stuff to get clarity on. There feels like there's more, yes, there's some healing, but there's also a lot of clarity. There's a lot of
Clarity.
like, I need to connect some dots here that I had not connected
Hmm.
before.
Yes.
So as much as I want to thank her for, thank Spirit for putting us, because really Spirit put us in the same store at the same time,
Yeah.
nearly running into each other.
Yeah.
And she definitely saw me before I saw her, because when I noticed her, she was already staring at me. Yeah.
I can't help but wonder, had that been me that almost ran into her? Because I know her.
Yeah, you do.
What would my reaction have
Yeah.
been?
And what would hers have been?
What would hers have been?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now the old Pam, who I call
Ugh.
Betty, right? Betty, that woman before before all the healing, would have like had her. I would have said something. I would have. It would not have been pretty. It would have been everything short of punching her in the throat. That's who I was at one point, right? I was really angry. I blamed everyone else too. Like it would have been her fault. Was she the one that left the relationship and was really nasty? Yes, she was.
Hmm.
However, I have to see my part in it, which I think I've already gone through that piece. She did it what is on her is the way she did it. That is squarely on her
Hmm.
because it was nasty.
Absolutely.
That was not a kind way to do it. No. And you remember when she did that?
I do.
Yes. Yeah.
I
Oh,
do.
yes. So, yeah, some closure on whatever this is, some clarity connecting those dots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Whew.
And what you said about what you're feeling and what's coming up has nothing to do with her is a really important factor in closure. Because when we can
Yes.
start separating the issues, I guess,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, so then why do I need to even think about this? Why do I need to bring this? I don't. Wow.
Yes.
And then it gives us a moment where we can look at the situation without that added piece in it and go, ah, okay, I'm done.
Yes. Done,
I'm
done, and
done.
done. Yeah.
Close that door, that gate, that whatever. There's
So,
your closure.
so just not speaking to her was not closure.
No.
But you get lulled into, or I did, lulled into this false sense of there was closure because I never spoke to her again. I didn't call her, I didn't email her, I didn't text her, I did nothing to
Right.
try to get her attention or to speak to her again.
Right.
And then after a while, because this has been years, after a
Years.
while, you just kind of go, okay, well,
Okay, I'm over it.
yeah, I'm over it.
Okay, I'm over it.
Yeah.
And people do that with stuffing,
Oh,
stuff and stuff and stuff and stuff until,
drink,
okay,
eat, drugs, whatever,
I can
exercise.
I can talk about this now
Mhm.
without any emotion attached to it because I have stuffed it so deep,
Yeah,
or I don't have to talk about it. I don't have to think about it.
right.
It doesn't exist. That's
Yes.
not closure.
No.
Not at all. It's a festering wound.
Yes, that I was able to just put aside because again, I have you. And it's like, oh, see, I'm not a total loser ass. I can have a friend who's a woman. Um, Really the first time in my life, this this time I've had so many women friends in my life that just went not quite to the extent this one was, but they would just break apart and go once whatever because they weren't true friends. And so there was that false, you gave me that false. Okay. So our relationship gave me sort of another piece of the puzzle of being a false feeling that, oh, I'm over that shit.
Oh, if you're over it, sure.
But there,
Sure.
and some of that is true. Like I no longer accept that kind of a new friend like that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh yeah, no, you're not. No, that's not gonna work.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Yeah. So I have some shit to think about. And my part in what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Our part's
she,
always huge in
yes,
closure.
yeah,
In the healing piece, we don't often look at our own part of it.
right.
Sometimes we do. Sometimes we have to. It depends on the,
Yeah.
it's
Well,
very dependent.
looking at your own shit is, if you consider the whole thing to be healing from whether it's clarity, whether it's closing a door, whatever you consider that to all the whole river to be healing,
Sure.
is a piece of it is looking at your own shit and
Yes.
owning your shit.
Very true.
Mhm.
Very true.
Yeah. Whew. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a shock. It was a shock.
Yeah, I bet it was.
Yeah.
I
And
bet it was.
like we always say, when it's time to heal something, spirit will bring it up and place it.
Hmm.
And boy, howdy, that was placed squarely in my lap to now do something about.
Yeah,
Another, more to heal. Mother.
always,
Yeah.
always. And the more life experience we have, the more life experience we gain,
Mhm.
it gives that wounding new aspects to fuck with us.
You said a curse word.
I did.
A big, a
But
big
it's
curse word.
true.
Yes.
It's true.
Yeah.
We can only heal what we know.
Yeah.
And when we have some of those deep, deep wounds,
Mhm.
sometimes we talk about that onion.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, okay, we might get down to the core, but if that core wounding
Mhm.
still has an opportunity 10 years down the road
Right.
to sneak in and go
Yes. Yes.
and take a bite out of our ass, it's going to.
And it does.
And it does, because how else are we going to really heal it if we can't heal from multiple aspects?
And there is a logical, what is that called? There are logical steps to take when healing. You can't bypass steps 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and to get right to the middle because you want that. And I've been there. Like I just want this shit over.
Right.
Just go right in the middle. I want to go
Yep.
dredging through that swamp to bring everything up. You can't. You have to go
Doesn't work.
step by step. There is a path there. There are steps to take. And
Yeah,
if you jump, and that's part, maybe that's part of my closure too, or not closure is I missed a few steps in there. So I need to go
could
back
be.
and sort of look at those steps.
Take a look at them and
And it really is for, I love to use the word behoove. It really does behoove all of us to allow spirit to bring what needs to be brought in. Needs
hmm
to be brought when, because spirit knows
hmm
best the things that need to be healed and when.
hmm
If you
Absolutely.
try to heal something that you're not ready for, it's just going to make a mess out of things. And really, it could set you back too. You can say,
It
oh,
can.
forget this, I'm out. And then,
Peace out.
yeah.
Not, yeah, not going here.
Mhm.
Hmm.
So there's a healing in my future, along with kind of a hybrid. We call them hybrids when it's a healing reading, and it
Hmm.
brings in a lot of clearing,
A lot of clarity.
clarity. Yes.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
so I know who I'll be calling here for one of those them there hybrids. Yes. Yes, for me. But yeah. Woo!
Hmm.
Yeah. Closure.
Closure.
Hmm.
It's important. And I never realized until just very recently what a decision it is. What a
Yes.
choice it
Yes.
is to really close that energetic doorway,
Hmm.
um, to wounding, to relationships, even to thought patterns.
Yes.
Um, you know, we thought patterns are usually, when we need to change them, they're detrimental.
Hmm.
That's why we need to change them.
Yes.
And many times, however we go about it, hopefully it's through an energetic healing of some sort. Um, we get that shift in perspective. We find the new way to think and we start thinking. But if we haven't made that choice to close the door on that other way of thinking,
Yes.
it's an invitation to go right back, to
And I
pull
also
it.
want to say you can't force it closed because we've all done that and that
No, you
doesn't
can't.
work. It
No.
really has to be you are at that place within your healing, within yourself that
Hmm.
says, I'm ready to be done now
Hmm.
and close
Hmm.
it. Because we've all tried to slam those doors closed and walk
Oh
away.
no, you can't. You slam it and it bounces right
Yeah,
back, sometimes
smacks you in the
more
head.
wide open
Yeah.
than it was to begin with. It
Yes.
might have just been a jar and you slam it closed and then pretty soon, boop, it's wide open.
Yes.
You're in a disaster that you haven't had to look at for 20 years.
There's also what's coming to mind is I'll use my mother as an example. There was so much that I needed some closure by talking to her. And first
Hmm.
of all, she had the last I mean she was crazy all of her life, but then at the end of her life she got dementia and there was no way to talk to her then. And then
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
she died. Okay, well, she was coming back. She would come in for me. As you know, I'd send her away a lot.
Oh man, a lot.
And at the same time, part of that was because she was a different person. I knew she wasn't the same fucked up person she was in life. She was this
Hmm.
beautiful, healed spirit now. So I wasn't angry with her. I was angry with the
Right,
live person. So it was
right.
very confusing for a while.
Hmm.
However, when I finally, and you helped me with this, when I was finally able to sort of make that connection in my head, just stop. There is a part that she's still working on that shit too.
Hmm.
And so she would come in the energy of the lifetime that she was my mom.
Hmm.
And I was able to say to her, sometimes I'd scream at her, and she would just sit and listen,
Hmm.
which was not the same as if she were human. So really
Right.
that was helpful. That was helpful because as a human, the gaslighting, the manipulation, oh, it would have just been horrific. And then I finally got to, okay, I've said what I, because there are sometimes where you need to not lambaste them necessarily, but for closure, you just need to get out all of those things that you needed to say, like, how dare you treat me that way? Or, whatever it is.
Hmm.
Um, and I was finally able, so there was closure with mom. Now she comes in and I have no issue. Okay.
Yeah.
But so if it is a situation where you either can't speak to that person or it's really going to do you no good, like with my mom with the dementia, there is no way to talk to her with a
Mm-hmm.
person like
Yeah.
that.
Mm-mm.
There
Um,
are
Wait
still,
until they're asleep,
yes,
and then you say your piece. Yeah,
then you say it.
that is about the
Um,
only way.
yes.
Yeah.
Or if they're not in your life anymore,
Mm-hmm.
there are still ways through meditation and so forth that you can get those experiences.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
nothing is a done deal. I just hear people in my head making excuses. Well, I don't see them anymore. I have this to say, but well, but this, well, but that, but there, all those. There is a counter for every excuse you're using right now.
Absolutely.
For every
There's
one of them.
such a thing as writing a letter.
Yes.
Doesn't mean you have to mail it.
Oh God, please don't mail it. I think I've told
Probably
everyone
don't
my experience.
write the letter and then burn it.
Yes. Yes.
Write it and burn it.
I'm sure I've told everyone that the fact that you said that when I was like 25 or so, I went to my first therapist and she told me to write a letter to my family and let them know all the stuff that they've done and mail it to them. I still have siblings today who have those letters and what, 50 years later, whatever, well, not 50, no, it'd be 40 years later, whatever, 30, I don't know. Mathing in my head is hard. Anyway,
But 30 years.
30 years, they'll still bring it up. They will still bring that up.
Sure.
So,
Which
oh,
says more about them than it would
yes.
ever say
So
about you.
don't mail it, is my point. Burning it would be great. Don't ever mail it. That
Yeah.
was the worst advice I had ever received from someone. Yeah.
Interesting.
At least right
Yeah.
up there with the worst of the worst.
Hmm.
Yeah.
My recent experience with closure, very different than what we're talking about, because we're talking about individual issues that you need to look at, right? Look
Yep.
at and heal and close. Um,
You're right. This is different. Yep. So,
this is
yes.
a very different area. Um, I realized that I had not taken full responsibility for some of my life choices. I was still blaming other people's actions
Mm-hmm.
and not taking responsibility for the choices that I made through those actions of other people. So, what I was able to do um, with the help of spirit was I had to choose, okay, here's a person.
Yeah.
What can I see? What can I see in that scenario of where do I need to take responsibility? What
Yes.
choices did I make? And spirit did not hold back.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as I was able to take the responsibility and honestly say, wow, yeah, that happened, but I did this. I
Yes.
did this.
Yes.
I was able to close that gate on that scenario.
Beautiful.
I can't even tell you how many scenarios that I went through. Excuse me. And what I have found on a daily basis, when something isn't sitting right with me,
Mm-hmm.
that's my question. All right, Spirit,
Oh,
show me, am I, and I don't know what this word is. Am I blaming? Am I, but show me, do I need to take responsibility here?
yeah. I was just going to say, what is your responsibility in
Do
it?
I need to take responsibility?
Yes.
And if I don't,
Yes.
Okay, there
Yes.
always is.
Yes.
Because
Always. Always.
even if the responsibility is my reaction to whatever happened, if I'm upset by it,
Yes.
that's my responsibility.
Yes. 100%.
So, and that's where I was going. If there isn't anything that I need to take responsibility for,
Right.
there still is the responsibility of my reaction.
Absolutely.
So, I'm going to say yes, on a daily basis.
Yeah.
I am looking at, okay, where's my responsibility in this? And I got to tell you, there is a huge freedom
Ooh,
in
yes.
that accepting responsibility
Yes.
for our choices,
Yes.
even choices that I made 50 years ago.
Huh.
50 years ago.
You left that gate open.
Um, every time I didn't take responsibility, I left it wide open.
Yep.
And now I've been able to go through my life, especially those things, because we ruminate sometimes
Yes.
on like old shit.
Old,
Why?
ancient shit.
Why do I
This,
always go here?
okay. This is why, this just brought up something. I'm sorry, but when I said old and ancient, this is part of why, how many, and I don't want to, I don't want to offend anyone when I say this, but I might. But I just want to bring clarity to something, really. People will blame past lives for things. Like
No.
they go back
Sure.
to, you're ruminating, you're trying to find, you're not,
You're not taking responsibility
you're
for
not
your
taking
life right now,
responsibility right now.
and you're trying to blame it back then.
Yes.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Could they be connected? Absolutely.
100% they could be.
But the only time you
Yes.
really should be looking at the past life is
Yes.
if you are accepting responsibility and it takes you there.
And it takes, I was just going to say, and spirit takes you there.
Mhm.
So when people ask us about, can you do a past life regression? Can you do, my question is, well, probably not, but why? Tell me why you want, do you just want to know because maybe there were some fun lives that you had, or you had some, like, what is the reason you want to go back? And every single time, well, I have this thing that I do, and I don't know where it came from. I don't know why, and I want to go back. Nope, nope, nope. If we've all
Nope.
had hundreds, some of us thousands of past lives, past, we've already done the lives. I don't know if, but sure, things that we didn't fix in other lifetimes, we're gonna need to fix it in this lifetime. We
Come
don't
back
fix it this
and do
lifetime,
it again.
we're going to come back and do it again. So I can almost guarantee you, yeah, you've done this in past lives. Yep.
Yeah.
You don't have to go back. You don't have to look. And that's not going to do anything other than allow you to bypass the fact that it's here in this life and you have shit to work on.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
there's something you that just when the whole
And
pat is like, yeah,
yeah.
no,
And
no,
that's not closure.
that's not
That
closure.
is not
No,
closure.
that just really gets you revved up even more. It
Yeah.
really does. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm not saying, neither one of us is saying don't look at past lives, but it will come up when it's meant to come up. When there was something that's happening now and spirit wants you to look back, I can
Mhm.
give an example of that actually, but go ahead.
Well, I just want to say if you are interested in past lives, please be prepared for what you are
Oh,
doing
oh, you're gonna get some shit that yeah,
because, yeah.
yeah. So what happened with me was, um, I went back to, so being a psychic, it was like, why am this was years, a long time ago. Um, I was afraid to sort of stand up and tell people that I'm a psychic and that this is what I do. And I still sometimes won't tell people. But it's for kind of a different reason now. Sometimes it's just not worth it, or they're really religious and saying it is just going to open a can of worms that you don't need to open or whatever. Anyway, so, but it turned out that many lifetimes I was persecuted for my gifting.
Mhm.
That still, so that plugged in some holes for me. Okay, well, that makes sense.
Mhm.
But did it solve the problem? No. All I can say now is I've been killed many lifetimes because I was so good at what I do. But I still had to
Yeah.
work on what I needed to work on in this lifetime to move past that. So that's an example of like past life.
Mhm.
Yeah, sure. I found out that many lifetimes that happened. Okay.
Yeah.
And
And
and yeah.
and yeah, exactly.
So another thing is, I wanted to, unless you had more to say, I didn't want.
No, I don't think so.
One thing I did not say, and I think this is part of closure as well, and I wanted to say it. I had said, even if that woman were to come back and apologize, blah, 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 I know it's not true, but I would still graciously accept that apology. Not for her, because she has, whether I accept it or not, it's not going to change whatever she's going through. I would accept it for me because there's some closure in being there's some in finding your dignity. And there is so much dignity and honor in accepting an apology from someone if
Mhm.
they mean it.
Mhm.
Now, an apology is heard, it's felt, and it's seen.
Mhm.
And we can tell if someone means that apology or not.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
anyway, I just wanted to say that because that came to me later. It's like, ooh, if she did, I wouldn't tell her to go. I would listen, and if I felt that it was real, I would absolutely receive it and accept it. And some
And never have anything to do with her again.
right, exactly, be done.
Yeah.
Yes, but I would do
Yeah.
it for myself because not accepting someone's real apology
Mhm.
just hurts me.
Mhm.
I mean, what that's your kind of, they had it within them to walk through the fire to get to you to fall on
Right.
their sword. Hello, you need to,
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean that you accept what they did. That doesn't mean that you are now friends. That does all that means is I hear you. This was hard for you to come to me.
Mhm.
I I accept your apology, or I accept that that I know this is difficult for you. Whatever. Okay. Um, but you do it for you, not for because she still has to deal with all the shit she's got to deal with.
Oh yeah.
Just
Oh yeah.
because you say, "Oh, I thank you and I accept," doesn't mean that all of a sudden they're relieved of everything. Oh no.
Oh no.
No, no, no.
Not at
That
all.
almost even
Not at all.
opens a new door for them for guilt and shame and everything.
So where does forgiveness lay in there?
Whew. Like forgiving her? Is that what you're
Yes.
asking?
Yeah.
Sure.
Because accepting an apology isn't necessarily the same
Right.
as forgiving,
Right.
right?
Right. Yes.
It it can happen at the same time.
Yes.
Sorry, I was going to say a word
Did
that
not
was
make
not
sense
right.
there at all. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. And yes.
It can happen at the same time, but they
Yes.
are
Yes.
different.
They are different.
Mhm. One thing that's the same, though,
Mm.
forgiveness is always for us.
Always. Hmm.
Mhm.
Yes. I'm relieving myself of the guilt or the shame or the Whatever
Resentment.
the resentment, I am relieving myself of that because this is a human being who is clearly broken and traumatized and whatever, and had nothing to do with me. The way she did it had zero to do with me at all.
Exactly.
So forgiving that reaction or forgiving that piece of it.
Hmm.
Yeah. And remembering that we all have souls that we're all here because we have jobs to do. We all
Hmm.
here to learn, to grow, to heal, to evolve. And her soul is too. We like to think of people that if someone hurts you, you like to think of them as being evil or there's nothing good about them or
And
whatever.
that's just
And
not
that's
true.
just not true.
Mm-mm.
It really is not true. Yeah. So finding that for me, it's seeing them as that soul piece I can forgive when you kind of look at it that way. Okay,
Right.
she's really broken and whatever.
Hmm.
I'm going to forgive that action and I'm just going to get the fuck over it. But
Yeah.
closure is a big one.
It's
Closure
it's
is,
huge. It
yeah,
really is. Yeah. Sometimes
yes,
um when we have closure on something,
yeah,
it like disappears,
yeah.
disintegrates. It's like the whole thing is like, "Huh?"
Hmm.
And other times not so much.
Not so much.
Other times it sticks around. It could be there for a reminder of how far we've gone.
Yeah.
It could be there as a
Reminder that you still have some trauma there.
yes.
Me, yes, with this.
Um, and it can remain as an option to reopen the door.
Yes,
I,
100%.
I, and I'm sorry I struggled with that because I wanted to say it stays around as a test,
Mhm.
but that isn't actually accurate
Right.
because it's not testing us, but we can be tested if we come up to it and go, "Ooh, I think I
Yes.
remember this victimhood so
Yes.
much. I think I'm gonna find that skeleton key and unlock it, and I'm gonna go wallow."
But testing, in my opinion, really comes after the most testing comes after you've healed that shit. And are you going to, and it's like you said, to show you how far you've come.
Mhm.
Because I've healed some shit. I get tested on, or something happens, it's like,
Mhm.
well, that was a test and I
Yeah.
passed.
Look at
Yes,
me.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's also, so you all know that I have a crazy amount of air in my chart. I'm an overthinker. I create these open spaces all around in other dimensions because of my overthinking. Way more. I used to do it way more than I do now. But that's another type of sort of in quotes closure is
Hmm.
getting those shut, getting those closed down, collapsed, dissolved, however, whatever verbiage you want to put on that,
Hmm.
so you don't go running back through there again. And an
Hmm.
example would be this happened recently. I don't remember exactly what it was that something happened and I wanted to spin. I swear
Hmm.
my brain was running around in circles trying to find an open door to find one of those wormholes to go down so I could spin, and there just wasn't one. And I just went, okay, this is a habit. And our body holds memory.
Oh yeah.
And so I had to ask her, it's like, okay, Deva, where am I holding this? It's time to, because I don't like this. It's time for
Hmm.
it to go. And I was able to get her to let go of that. Yeah,
Beautiful.
because they're habits. There are
Hmm.
a lot of habits.
Hmm. Some of them are addictions.
Yes.
Hmm.
Do you want to talk about that?
Well, the the habit that Pam had of building these internal
Hmm.
rooms
Yeah. You've been into some of those rooms. They're scary.
I have. I believe that at one point, yes, it was an addiction.
I would agree with that.
And the difference between a habit and an addiction is the addiction, you start doing it as part of your daily routine.
And I'm going to add, as you're telling yourself, I shouldn't be doing this, I know this isn't right. Like
Yes.
there is that piece in there. A habit
Yes.
can go, oh,
Oh, I shouldn't be doing this.
ah.
I'm not. Yeah.
Yes.
And you don't.
Yeah.
Or you say, well, okay, I'm going to do it this one time.
Yes.
That doesn't usually happen with an addiction. The addiction is, I shouldn't be doing this. I can't be doing this. I shouldn't be doing this. And you're there. And then comes that um, remorse.
Or the
I should,
excuses, right? Don't you, with
well, that
addiction,
too.
sometimes
That
they're
too.
like, oh, it's, you know, whatever. Let's celebrate. What should we celebrate? I don't know. Let's celebrate that it's, whatever. It's Wednesday. Yay! Let's have a drink because it's Wednesday. Like you can, you can have all kinds of, find reasons.
Sure.
Yeah. I don't think you
Yeah.
can do it with a habit.
No, I don't think so.
No.
Habit, you just find yourself just mundanely doing
Doing
it
it.
and then
Yeah.
going, oh,
Oh,
God,
damn
am
it.
I doing this? And you're done and you're just
Yeah.
like, oh, fine. But that addiction, you look for reasons to do it.
Ugh,
You
yeah.
um, beat,
100%.
well, you can beat yourself up with a habit too. So that's not really exclusive.
No,
But
no. But I do think it's much deeper with addiction. It's
yeah.
that that remorse, the shame, the resent, all of those things, all of those nasty, low vibrational
Hmm.
emotions really,
Anti-self emotions.
yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Anti-self. Uh-huh.
Hmm.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
beat the shit out of yourself. Like I don't know anyone that has a habit that just totally beats the shit out of themselves. Like if you have an addiction for doing it. I
Right.
found myself doing that habit again. Ah, damn it. Okay.
Yeah. I got to
I,
break that habit.
I'm not going to do that again. But with an addiction, you rake yourself over you just beat
Yeah.
the hell out of
And the
yourself.
shame and the I have to stop, that I have to, I
Yes.
can't, that blah. There's a there's a depth to that low vibration that just a habit doesn't reach.
Now, what about people who I think I've only seen these type people in movies, so I don't even know. I think it exists
Okay.
that the addiction is they're just waiting to die from it. Like an
Sure.
alcohol, you see that in movies
Sure.
sometimes. Like he just has a death wish. He's just it's like I'm not going to quit drink. I enjoy it or not or whatever. I don't think they're really enjoying it, but they just have
No, at that point, there's no excuses.
yeah. You're just
You don't give excuses. You don't give reasons. You're just waiting.
I'm gonna drink these 5 bottles of vodka today because that's what I always do, and hopefully it'll kill me tonight.
And there's no thought process to it.
Oh, yikes. Yeah.
There's no consciousness to it.
I remember, so when Mari-Lyn and I had our space, there was at one point there was a pretty large group of recovering drug addicts and alcoholics that would come to meditation. And I remember this and I just lost it. Oh no, I don't. Okay, it's back. So there was a conversation they were having about that show that was on that followed. Oh, what was the name of it? And it was really good. and they would follow around people who had drug and alcohol issues, and they would do like a documentary on them. They would lie to the person, say they're doing a documentary on something, so the person would go along, but really intervention. Because at the end of the show, every episode, they would then do an intervention and try to get the person help. And I remember the people in our group saying how horrible that was because they were thinking it as being the alcoholic person or that person. And what a travesty of like they had no privacy. They didn't want this out there, and they agreed to something different. And I can kind of understand that point. Like you don't know what's really going on. However, for those of us on the other side, it was very helpful to watch. Yes. Go
I
ahead.
have no recollection of the show or of it ever being talked about.
Oh, okay. Maybe it was before you, but I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Maybe you just weren't there that night because there were nights when you missed,
Or
or you just don't remember.
or I just don't remember, but
Yes.
it's interesting that I don't remember.
Yes.
Excuse me.
It was an invade. They kept saying such an invasion of privacy in that, and
Well, what I want to say something to that though, because I could almost guarantee that, well, yes, up front, the person agrees to this, and then at the end, and they find out, and it's all of
it's
this.
something different.
There is no way that is ever aired without
That
permission
See,
after the
that's what
fact.
I
There
thought.
is no way in hell. No,
Yeah,
no.
that
They're not
person would
going to
have
show that. They're not going to disclose that.
right.
It takes away from the
Yeah,
emotional piece of
and they
what
would talk to
you're
the person like after they'd gone through, um, like they'd always get sent somewhere to get help,
Yep.
and
Yep.
then they'd always talk to them after they'd been in it for a while, or some of them left, some of them couldn't do it, and you saw such a change and such an amazing change. Even if they were only, 2 months into it, you could see this incredible change. I think you can still find it somewhere. They had lot of
Mm.
episodes, but it was for those of us. So like as we all know, my family, there's a lot of alcoholics and drug addicts in my family. It brought so much perspective to that and understanding how they truly can't help themselves. I mean, you can, and there's always that point. Yes, when you finally decide to get sober, yes, you can do it. But there is like people who get upset, and I can totally understand the upset, but like my spouse is a drinker and they're choosing the drink over me and how that must hurt. But that person can't help choose that drink over you. And so it was really,
That compulsion.
yes. And no matter how, like, you've taught me so much about addiction, yet I had to see that on that show to really get it.
Hmm.
Like, oh yeah. So yeah, my mom couldn't help it. Some of my siblings couldn't, it was there. And it was also what you saw all the time. Like the fact that I'm not an alcoholic or have some big drinking problem is really sort of stunning.
Hmm.
Watching that my whole life,
Yeah.
growing up in that atmosphere. But anyway, I'm not sure
Yeah.
where we got on that subject, I guess. But yeah, that was a great show, and really,
Mm,
that's addiction. That's not just a habit. And then,
no.
but it also showed all the codependents and the enablers around them too. And that really comes, it's like, oh,
Hmm.
wow. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Crazy.
huge. It's
Very
huge.
huge.
Hmm.
Whew. So closure. Should we get back to closure?
So talking about intervention
Hmm?
was really uncomfortable.
I am very sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. I never had an intervention done on me in that way. I have been part of
You have.
an intervention.
How did that go?
That was that
And
was hard.
were you drinking at the time or you had finished, you were no longer drinking when you were part of that?
No, my first one, I was an active drinker.
Oh,
I don't know that I would have considered myself an alcoholic at the point.
right.
So,
Because you were going to go save someone else.
but being part
You
of
didn't put the,
being part of that was brutal. It,
oof,
it was not that was not a fun day.
I'll bet. And did that person get help?
Yes,
Good. Did they stay sober?
yes,
Nice.
yes.
Beautiful. Because they don't
Um,
all
they
work out that
died
way.
sober. They died sober.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Yes.
um, yeah, what I have to say next is for another conversation.
Okay. Fair
Hmm.
enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So closure is what we talked about today. And if you meaning whoever's listening, the listeners, if there is something that keeps coming up for you, or there's a situation like what happened with me, consider taking response, looking at your piece of it,
Hmm.
get to actually get some healing, some clarity, and finally some
With
closure
some closure.
on that. Yeah,
Hmm.
we're certainly always here to help if you need our help.
Right.
Um,
And you can contact us through the website, tcseverydaypsychics.com. Um,
you can also go, a therapist, any way that
any,
works for you
absolutely.
to do that work. Fred's meds,
Absolutely.
even
Yeah,
for some people, Fred's meds is their counseling.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And remember, if something is coming up and you're looking at it and you're really not getting, yes, you've taken your responsibility and there's not really any wounding, but you keep ruminating,
Yeah.
do you simply just need to make the choice for closure?
Yes.
That is a possibility.
It is. Yeah. And
And
there are
what?
times,
But
but
it is
there
still a
are
possibility.
times, and there have been times over the years where I have a client and something comes up, and truly, Spirit says to me, tell them to grow the fuck up, get over it, move on. It doesn't happen a lot, but there are those times because usually,
Yes.
okay, we have some healing to do. There's something going on here. Let's look at it. But there are those times when it's like, just get over it now.
Get
Just
over it. And what I was getting as you were about to say that was sometimes you have to ask yourself, what's my payoff for going here?
yes, yes,
What is my payoff?
yeah,
And I can almost guarantee it's going to be something as disgusting as I get to be a victim.
yes,
I
yes,
get to be a victim,
yes,
and that is it.
yes,
Because there is no reason in my world right
no,
now that I should be a victim. So if I go here,
yes,
I get
yes.
to be a victim again.
And that is a payoff for those of you saying, how
Payoff.
can that be a payoff? That's a
It is.
negative thing. No, 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 no. We learned. So I was always a victim, right? So I can talk on this subject. This one, this one I know. Being a victim is how I soothed myself. Being a victim is how I found comfort. And there's a feeling of I know exactly where I am when I it's like you're in the center of the teeter-totter when you're in that victimhood and it feels so good. That's a payoff.
Yeah.
Is it a good thing? No. No, it is not. But it is a payoff because you get to sit there and, like a kitty and just lick your
Yep.
fur and
Create a hot spot. And
yes, yes. And
That it is a
so,
payoff.
yeah, so there are payoffs that are
Yeah.
not healthy for you. It's
Yep.
so just saying a payoff, yeah. Yeah, they're not all payoffs are not most of the payoffs really when
Mm,
it comes to emotional stuff is not a positive.
it's not good.
No, no, it's a
No,
nasty. Yeah.
no, it's not. And if that's the only reason you're keeping that thing open,
Yes.
yeah, grow the hell up and get over it.
Yes. And what just came to mind is I learned as a very probably I was probably three. I don't know. I learned how to dissociate. There was so much trauma, the PTSD, right? That's how I learned to protect myself in my family for several different reasons. I can't even tell you which event or which behaviors or whatever caused me to start dissociating because there are several. And so I learned well how to dissociate, right? There was a time when that was a payoff because it feels good. Does not anymore. It is painful now. Painful. But dissociation was, yeah,
Hmm.
that was a payoff.
Yeah,
And if I could
yeah,
find any reason to jump out of my body and go to that beautiful, that yummy feeling of just being totally blacked out, yeah, that was a payoff.
yeah.
Yeah. So payoffs come in all different shapes and sizes, and they're none of them are good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
No.
Mm-mm.
Oh, no. Whoo! All right.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah, that was good.
I think so. Thank you everyone for tuning in. We appreciate you.
You
Please
do.
subscribe. Even if you're on a listening platform, you can still subscribe. Text
Yep.
us. If you're on YouTube, leave us a comment, say hello or something that it.
Give us a topic.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Topics are
Yeah.
always good. Please give us
Yep.
topics.
There are days, sometimes we get on here and we're like, okay, are we going to talk about this or this or this or this? Blah, blah,
Yes.
blah,
Yes.
blah,
So
blah.
many.
And other days we get on here and we're like,
Who?
I
Yes. We don't know. And we're
don't
just,
know.
just talking.
Yeah.
And we just sort of wait till we're in a conversation and then we hit record. Yes.
Well, Pam waits till we're in the conversation and then she'll hit record and it pops up and it's like, don't stutter, just keep going.
Surprise! Yes.
Oh.
Well,
Yeah. So,
everyone,
yeah,
thank you.
we appreciate all your support
Yes.
and really we're serious about the topics in
Yeah.
the comments.
Please let us know
We'd love to know.
if there's something you just want to hear us yammer on about.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
All
We know
right,
how to do
everyone.
that.
Thank you.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye.